Now, if you log in today into the crypto space, you see that a lot of altcoins, the majority of them are down. Bitcoin as well is down. And you're probably wondering what's happening here, and you really want to pay attention to today's video. So what happened recently is that Bitcoin went to that 102,000 USA dollars, making us happy, giving us those gains, giving us those real bullish vibes that we want. But now it kind of crumbled and went back down to 95k, which we're gonna get back to that Bitcoin chart because it's very important to us now. What basically happened with this Bitcoin collapse or Bitcoin crash is a market reaction to the news of the hot job market. Again, the hot job market means a strong job market means the economy is good and that the Feds do not need to cut rates, but that's what the market thinks, or at least in the short term. But on the long term, for the 2025, we know that the US debt is increasing and it is reaching a high level that is unsustainable, and at some point the Feds are gonna have to bail out the US, and which means they're gonna have to print money, which means we're back to full-on money flowing in the machine, printing money, and altcoins do generally very well when that happens. So basically that's what we got back in the days with 2021 bull market. This happened, if you all remember, and it makes sense to everybody to give that example, is that we had the 2021 bull market happen right after the lockdowns, and the lockdowns back then, what happened with the lockdowns is that the Fed started printing money. So basically that's what it all comes down to. That's why the market is kind of not liking the hot job data, is that they are all waiting, and we're all waiting for the Fed to start printing money, like in 2021 exactly here when we seen ETH pumping. So basically when ETH is pumping, all starts to pump. But the point is, in 2021, the Fed started printing money because of the lockdowns, and they needed to stimulate the market and all that. So that's what led to this massive altcoin season. So that's what we're preparing for, and this means that we're still now waiting for that to happen, this bullish catalyst that we are waiting for. And that's why we're here today, ready, holding our bags for the bull market, which basically aka printing the money. And now let's look at the Bitcoin chart, basically, which is the cause of this blood we see in the streets, which means altcoins are not really affected fundamentally by anything. Like, they are just waiting for what Bitcoin is going to do. So Bitcoin is the guy that's causing this. So Bitcoin here is something we really want to pay attention to. And we can see now, I've shown you guys this pattern that we've seen previously that is very similar to the one that we had back here, which is also early 2024. So keep that in mind. This is December 2023 and January 2024. It's something similar here, and we had the same as well play out here in early 2021. Also, Bitcoin pumps, rallies in January, early January, like we see now, but this was in today's market. This happened in December or late December, but basically it's the same thing that we've seen. Bitcoin rallies, put in all these lows and shows weakness and make everybody think that's it, is over, and then goes for the actual real rally. And this started to rally late in January, where basically it put in the double bottom and started rallying. So we do have the same thing here. Now here as well is very similar, and keep in mind also in this time here, if you were not here, this was also a very bearish time, as we had the ETFs, and the ETFs were a sell the news kind of thing going on, or the narrative was back then that the ETFs are a sell the news, because also of the CME futures ETFs we had back here that marked the top. So people were very bearish when it came to that ETF news announcement. So it was also a very concerning time, but also it was January or the beginning of 2024, and the rest is history, as we see what happened after. So after this January of 2024, we had the largest gains ever. So basically, if you were here in 2023 and you started buying something like PayPay, let's say, we have PayPay here. So if you started buying PayPay, and this is January of 2024 or the beginning of 2024, right around here. So this is the time of what that is marked here. So this is it. This is the time. If you bought PayPay, or for that matter any top meme coin that you see now, this was it. This was what the chart looked like back in the days. It looks also very dead. It looks like nothing was gonna happen. It looked like it's over. Also, that PayPay was putting in those major lower high structure and just going down. So if we hide this, it just looks horrible, let alone this part here that looks also very very horrible. But we know that after Bitcoin broke up and started going into this parabolic rally that we see here, this is the massive pump that led to a massive altcoin and meme coin season. So keep that in mind. What happened in 2021 as well is something very similar. This is 2021. So 2021 early January, same time frame, same like today, same like everything. Also retrace, very bearish, also looking not good, looking like today. If back then you were on in here and you looked at altcoins, they will look exactly like today. And what we know as well happened here is, you know, guys, another bull market. We can see that after this part, we had a massive run. Also back in the days, altcoins only started catching up once Bitcoin was around here. So these all are things that tells us that we're still bullish. We're still expecting future higher prices for altcoins and for meme coins. Nothing is there to worry about this far, but we're going to keep looking. We're going to keep looking because it's very important to us to understand what's going on here, to understand, are we expecting higher prices in the future? Is 2025 exactly the year that is promised to be the year where we're going to have those massive gains, especially if you miss the gains in 2023 and 2024 that we all benefited from, basically. Now, when it comes to Bitcoin, one more thing we really want to be looking at, which is the RSI. It is something that really does give us a lot of insight on what Bitcoin can do or what Bitcoin is doing, especially when we have those pullbacks. Now, if we add the RSI on the monthly, this is the time frame that really matters when it comes to RSI on Bitcoin. So what we notice with the RSI or the monthly RSI on Bitcoin is whenever it goes to this super overbought area, which starts to shade in green, it also always matches with the tops on Bitcoin. Whenever that happens, this is usually the top. Seen this as well in 2021, and you can see these were monthly candles. So once Bitcoin reaches that level, it stays there for a few months. Now today we're seeing that Bitcoin did not really go that far. It still really did not go to those real overvalued areas of the RSI or really started shading in green here. And one thing as well we can look at when it comes to this RSI, it also has a downtrend, like let's say, because every year the price does not go as parabolic as the previous year because the market cap of Bitcoin basically is getting bigger, so it takes more strength to pump it up. So we can see it has this downtrend to it as well, where whenever it gets to it, it kind of is as well the top. So this far, we're very far away from that. As you can see, we're just here. We're just right around here. We are really not really at the tops here, where usually Bitcoin marks the top. And these are monthly candles. So wherever it gets there, you got around 2 months really. So we usually, the market gives us those exit signs that whenever it reaches that, you got 1 month where the market is still overheated, but you still got a month. But anyways, we're not really even close to where that trend line is at. And as well, we're not even into that green shade area here, where the RSI is just doing its thing. It's just kind of climbing slowly, trying to find strength. These are the real bullish signs we're seeing here today, guys, when it comes to Bitcoin. And as you can see, Bitcoin really does lead the market. So when it goes down, everything goes down. When it goes up, everything goes up. So very important to us to really keep an eye on Bitcoin, even though you are not really buying it or you're not investing in it and nobody cares about it basically, but the market does. So the first thing we got is this pattern that repeats every January now this far and always led to a bull market. And the second thing, as I just shown you, is the RSI that is on the monthly still onto that real far away area here. So which we got a long way to go there. Now these are two things that we can use as confluence, where we're having two things telling us that Bitcoin has not topped yet. Now, the second thing is ETFs that we also really need to look at. And ETFs flows for Bitcoin are still positive today, 52 million. Today, yesterday, January the 7th. So these are all good things. Now, for it is not the greatest time, but it is also what we need to remember is Bitcoin in the beginning of its ETF stage, we're seeing a lot of outflows, which means a lot of selling pressure on Bitcoin when the ETF launched because of Grayscale and others that already had investors buying up those ETFs before the approval, that started selling after the approval because they could sell. But The same thing is happening with ETH, which is very important. ETH is the real guy or real altcoin that you really want to watch, because that's what causes the real altcoin season, as I shown you here in this chart. When ETH starts moving up, really that's the altcoin season that we're waiting for. So basically what we've seen with the ETFs is, in the past with Bitcoin, we've seen it also very red when it comes to those banks that already had the ETFs. They started selling while BlackRock was buying. So today also BlackRock is still buying Bitcoin, almost $600 million worth of Bitcoin. But anyways, for ETH, still nothing happening for ETH yet. At some point, this is gonna turn back on, and this is basically coming down to as well what I just said, this the rate cuts, because rate cuts are very important to big large institutions. They do really look at that data a lot, and they do want to see that to be more of a certainty that the Feds are gonna start cutting rates, and not just a rumor or some speculation. And they want real certainty, so the market don't like uncertainty that much, and especially when it comes to high risk investments for big banks, for big boys like ETH, let's say. At some point, I do believe we're going to start to see more inflows, positive inflows. We did see some here and there, but yesterday, January 7th, it was mostly outflows or sell-offs on ETH ETFs, and I do think once this is going to start to turn green, we're going to see some massive pumps on ETH, and this is possibly what's going to get ETH finally above its all-time high. So for those that do not know, ETH above its all-time high is basically what we are all waiting for, because as soon as it gets above its all-time high, so this is the beginning of 2021, as soon as it gets there, this is when we get the real altcoin season. This is when we get the real euphoria. So we really are far away from that. This is the all-time high on ETH. We haven't really touched that this far. It's still way below it. We still haven't really seen the real crazy mania yet. Also Solana, which is another big blockchain that also can tell us what's going on with altcoins, did hit its all-time high, as we can see here, and then massively went down after. So those are also things that you want to keep in mind. Also, if we don't like Solana and pump fund and all that is causing all this dilution in the market, but the thing is also Solana needs to get above its all-time high, and at some point it's going to start to do that as well, which is going to cause this bullish momentum for the market as well. When Solana was at around or close to its all-time high, it was November 24th, November, December. If we look at a lot of altcoins and memecoins back in the days, this was a very bullish time for them as well. It really did cause some FOMO and euphoria, and the market started really going up, and that's very shown in Pepe. Let's say here, if we look at Pepe and when it's really started breaking out here, it was also November. This was time where Solana was close to its all-time high, which caused also this altcoin season, although Pepe did pull another high after Solana, which basically is outperforming Solana. So that's, I think, as well to keep in mind, is that meme coins are still outperforming altcoins, but the top meme coin or the top altcoins, they are an indicator of the health or the appetite of the market. If they are pumping, this means a lot of people are now really looking into alternative coins other than Bitcoin. Now, if you are holding any meme coin like Turbo, Pepe, or a lower market cap coin like Breton E that I've been talking about as well, what you really need to understand is we're still on track for the actual altcoin season. It still hasn't happened. Nothing really shows us that it actually happened and we missed it somehow and we didn't see it happen or whatnot. Nothing is showing that, other than we just had a real bullish 2023 and 2024, where we've seen a lot of meme coins go from nothing, from tiny market caps to real large market caps. Other than that, we really don't have those real big signs like ETH above its all-time high, or even Solana above its all-time high, or none of the other real altcoins above their all-time high. If we go to coin market cap here, even XRP did take the all-time high from 2021, but did not take the 2017 all-time high. But most of the top altcoins, beside Bitcoin, nothing is trading above its all-time high today. There has not been any real major altcoin season driven by FOMO and hype, which actually drives prices even higher with meme coins and altcoins. Now, the fear and greed index as well is back to 50, neutral. No greed, no fear. Basically, I do think that there is a bit of fear with everything going on, but I do think as well that most people that wanted to sell, or the ones that panic sell easily, are already out. So that's why we're not seeing a major freak out, like a full-on fear here. And as well, like Bitcoin is still at 94k. It's still a major price for Bitcoin. Still costs you $94,000 to get one Bitcoin, which is still a very expensive price for Bitcoin. So nothing really dramatic happened here. Now to end this video here, guys, is I do think we're gonna have a bit, maybe one more day where Bitcoin can trade around 92k, and then put in the double bottom. I'm looking for a double bottom to be put, basically, because that's what we've seen. That's what we've seen in 2021. We've seen some sort of a double bottom here, and the reason why we're comparing to 2021, because this was the post-halving year as well, and the year that led to the bull market. So there was a double bottom, and as you can see, it's the same pattern here, where we had this triangle with a double bottom at the end. So really look at that here clearly, and look at this one here. It's very similar if we do something like that. So we have this triangle, and we do need to put in a double bottom somehow here, and that's when we break out. So then we have that astronomical pump that we've seen in 2021, and I do think for some reason, because the charts somehow can tell you, or somehow the charts are a way to see what can happen also with the data here. So this is very important to keep in mind. Now we have the inauguration coming in the 20th of January, and we don't know what Trump is gonna say, but whatever he's gonna say about what they are going to do about the US national debt, that's something to really keep in mind. They cannot let that run forever here. Whatever they're going to say is going to be very critical for us, and that's what the market as well is waiting for. So pretty much I do think Trump and whatever they're going to try to do in 2025, they're going to try to look into this as this is an urgent matter. They're really going to try to fix this, and the only way to fix this is by cutting rates. They don't have another choice, and that's what we really are, some sort of a speculation. This is not a must happen, let's say, but the main way to solve this is by printing. Like in 2021 they did that, and we had a big major altcoin season, and the catalyst this year to get them to do that is this national debt. So anyways, guys, stay bullish, stay hopeful. 2025 is still just on track, doing exactly what we've seen in the past. Nothing has changed from my point of view here. And I remember I made a video where I compared this part here to 2021, and I said in that video that at some point we're going to come back to retest these previous lows here, and don't freak out when we do that. So basically that's what we're doing now. We're back to 94k. The double bottom happens, then we see if we break out from here, then that's it, that's the pump, that's it, and from there we're going to have the last squeeze up. So keep that in mind. If you're freaking out today, remember that the actual time to freak out is going to come, but most people will not freak out at that time, where Bitcoin is going to be probably above 120k, and most people will stop panicking and stop thinking about the worst part. That's when the people should panic, not now. So it's most likely that we just repeat what we did in early January of 2024 and 2021, which both led to an astronomical altcoin season and a meme coin season. Anyways, guys, hope this was helpful. Thank you so much for watching today's video till the end, and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.